Radio IMWS.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to Radio IMWS. This is a very special Mohammed Zawa this evening, and I'll be telling you more about that in a moment. But first, before we get things started, I'm sure you'll be aware of the impact of the recent floods in the north of England. We've seen a lot of pictures being circulated. A lot of good people from our local town have been out there and helping out as well. Well, the IMWS have launched an appeal to help the flood victims. You can make your donations of Sadaqah Lillah at local IMWS affiliated masjids and participating masjids across Batley and Dewsbury, or at the Al Hikmah Centre here on 28 Track Road, Batley, WF 177AA. This appeal will be open until this coming Friday, the 1st of January. So do give it your generous support as you always do, inshallah ta'ala. Remember, the centre here will be closed, or the main office here will be centre here will be closed on New Year's Day, on Friday. So anyone wanting to make donations to the centre, please do so before then. We will be open until 5 p.m. on Thursday, inshallah. But you will be able to make donations this coming Friday in Jummah Salah and until the end of Friday, inshallah, at the local affiliated masjids and participating masjids. And now on to the main event. Almost a year ago to the day, we had a group of volunteers in the studio who were about to embark on a charity venture to feed people sleeping rough in the streets. I'm very pleased to say 1 year on, the group are going strong and have joined us in the Radio IMWS studios. It gives me great pleasure to welcome officially Hafiz Sohail Sufi and Zahir Lunat. Have I got it right?
You got it right.
I've got it right. No one gets that right. better known as Zach Lunat, of course. Gentlemen, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
Wa alaikum salam.
First of all, jazakallah for joining us this evening. And now then, inshallah ta'ala, all you listeners out there, remember today you can listen to us live via the website www.imws.org.uk, or of course you can you can inshallah ta'ala watch us live right at this moment in time by heading off to YouTube. Type in Radio IMWS. That's if you haven't already gone to our social media pages and found the link. And inshallah ta'ala, you will be able to not only hear us on there, but you'll be able to see us live on YouTube. Radio IMWS, that's our channel name. Go head off there, inshallah ta'ala. And also, you can join in the program this evening by giving us a call on 01924505629. WhatsApp or text to 07460809218. That number again, 07460809218. If you got a question, or if you want to give a message to the guys in the studio, do send us a text or WhatsApp on there. Now then, to start with, gentlemen, let's have a recap of where Forgotten Friends began.
Okay, so I remember coming here last year. So our first project a year ago was on Saturday, 27th of December. That was our first project where we distributed hope kits around the local area of Huddersfield, Dewsbury, Batley, Manchester, Leeds, etc. So that was exactly around a year ago. The charity organization started its development around end of October of 2014, and it took about a month or 6 weeks or so for us to gather our resources, gather our volunteers, get the marketing and all of that out. And since then, it's been a year. So Saturday 27th December was our first project in 2014 where we launched, and we did come on the radio I think a couple of days before that.
Yes, it was actually Christmas Eve on the 24th.
Okay, 24th of December.
So almost to the day as we were. Now, just going back to that time, because I remember, I remember quite vividly where we were talking a lot about the type of hope kits that you mentioned there. I mean, it was quite surprising to see the type of just remind us, if for those of us who have forgotten, what was actually in the hope kits back then.
Okay, initially in the winter, our hope kits were filled with warm clothing and sanitary items, because when we did some research, we found out that majority of the people that are sleeping rough on the streets, the items that they desire the most are sanitary items and obviously warm clothing. So the hope kits then had some IKEA blankets that were donated by local businesses. and we had all sanitary items that were again donated by local businesses, and we had some non-perishable food items, and we had other necessary stuff, water, food, warm clothing, etc., and all of which was donated by local businesses.
Yeah, and obviously, of course, that's continued over the course of the year. Zach, just tell us a little bit more about how that's continued and the type of impact. I mean, back then you were meeting people for the very first time.
Yeah.
How's that going back to time and again every month? How's that worked?
Yeah, it's worked tremendously. What we've done is where we've been in a local town or city, we've actually networked with an array of partner agencies that already work with homeless people. And what we found out is basically where there's been gaps. Say, for example, if we're going the third weekend of the month, we know there's provision on the first, second, and fourth, so we'll go on the third. So
Right.
it's made us actually map out the best time to deliver the whole kits, the food items to the most needy people, and to be at the right place at the right time as well. Because what we were finding at the beginning was there was no information sharing protocols. We were going in, and then we were finding out there's already another agency from Oldham there or Manchester there when we went to Manchester. So we built up links with quite a lot of other voluntary stroke community organizations, charities that already work with the homeless, and we've shared best practice basically.
Right. Okay. And what's the areas that you guys were going into at that time? I know you mentioned Manchester, Leeds, Huddersfield, Bradford. And are those the same areas you're still going into, or
those are predominantly those are the same areas. We do have volunteers in Nottingham who have done a few projects there as well.
Yeah.
And then there was a school that wanted some help with doing local projects. So there was a Muslim girls' school that did a project in Preston as well. So we helped them with some publicity and how to start up that one. So that was in Preston. So predominantly we're still in the northeast region, but when there is need and when people contact us on our social media, we do help them start up. We do help. We do guide them, and we do help them facilitate. Setting up in their own areas as well.
Yeah, I mean, I know you guys help everyone and anyone who's in need, and I've seen, alhamdulillah, lots of pictures on social media. Thank you for putting those on, because it does give a very graphic image of the type of people that you're helping, and it's away from the stereotype. But looking at how have you seen things on the street? Is there an increase of more people living rough? Is it difficulties? Are there more Muslims, for example, on the streets now?
Yeah, it depends in terms of the geographical areas that you go to, because some local authorities are better at dealing with homelessness than others. Some local authorities have better partnership with an array of organizations, and they work together to combat the issue of homelessness and housing and health and various other factors. So what we have seen is a different pattern emerging depending on where you go. What we have seen is in Manchester there's a big issue in terms of the homeless, because most people end up in Manchester from a number of cities, London, Birmingham. They move further up north and they end up in Manchester because there's a homeless community there, and they go to places where there's a homeless community, thinking more resources will be diverted in those areas.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Alhamdulillah. If you've just tuned in, you are listening to Radio IMWS, broadcasting live from the Al Hikmah Centre. And this evening, our guests are Forgotten Friends, who have been now going for a year helping causes. And we're going to get on to more, because I know there's more than just the homeless, the homeless and people sleeping rough. But just to look on that, I mean, what have been the big challenges you've had to face regarding this side of things, the rough sleepers? And
the biggest challenge we face is approaching them on the streets, because sometimes they're very vulnerable people, and sometimes they do not want to be approached, and sometimes they don't even want help. Sometimes when you approach somebody on a street wearing a high visibility vest, they think that you're authorities, they think that you're from the council, they think you're the police or something. So their initial reaction is always okay. But then, when we break the ice, when we confront and when we help them, they're much more welcoming. So our initial concern has always been that on the streets initially, that first contact, we need to have a lot more friendly approach. So that's why it led to our rebranding. Because when we got a lot of feedback from the people on the streets, and then a local branding company, they approached and I said that you guys do wonderful work, but I'd like to help you because I saw you guys on the streets and you guys come across as of like, you know, wearing high visibility wears. You guys come across as police officers or council workers. So then we went through like a rebranding stage where we decided to have like a neutral colors, blues and purples, and we're going to rebrand our vests as well, hopefully. So that's been our biggest challenge as well, that on the streets we want to be approachable, friendly, so that the vulnerable people feel comfortable speaking to us, and also, you know, if they have any issues, or if they have any problems, you know, they can come to us and they can talk to us.
Tell us more about this rebranding. What's actually going to happen? I know you've rebranded your logo. I've seen that, and it took me a while, to be absolutely honest with you. My eyesight's not very good, and it's on a Twitter icon, but it's a hand reaching out as I see it. What else is going to be happening on the rebranding?
The rebranding is done by a local branding company called Tan Designs. Now they are looking after our entire rebranding, from the social media to all our marketing material to all the items of clothing that we wear. The main thing is that we want to come across approachable and friendly and neutral and all encompassing. So the initial stage, most people would have seen it online, that we've developed, because it had been a year or so, and people asked us, oh, like, you guys don't have a logo. And it was true when we looked at all our material, and like, yes, you're right, we don't have a logo. You know, it was 10 months, and we looked at our Facebook page and Twitter page, and we saw that we don't, it's just Forgotten Friends, and that was it. So because we were going to meetings with you know, local authorities and other people, and they were asking for certain things, and we saw, and they were giving us feedback. So we thought, okay, if we need to come across more professional. So the first stage of the rebranding is all the social media and all the logo and all the coloring, etc. The second stage will be all our marketing material, all the printing material will also will be aligned with that. And the third stage will be when our volunteers are out on the streets, they will be wearing different colored vests, and they'll be wearing different colored neutral hoodies, etc. So that would be the third stage.
Okay. Now you've mentioned, I mean, when asked about the challenges, you mentioned about gaining confidence for people who are living rough. Presumably, you're coming across people who, in some cases, have run away from home, etc. I mean, that probably might be a lighter way of looking at it. Some people even worse consider conditions. And I remember last year you mentioned something about people who are sleeping rough not really getting the support that they need, and to try and be an intermediate to try and get them that support. Have you come across any cases like that where you've been able to help people out and get them linked with the local authorities or something to try and get them into a better situation?
Yeah, I mean, the kind of times that we go on later on in the evening, when most of the agencies that work with the homeless service, be it the local authority or be it a charity or an organization that's got a service level agreement with the local authority, they don't work those hours. But some do have outreach workers, and when we do meet them on the streets, we take their contact details and we find out, you know, what they're doing, because they see us with the high-vis jackets, so they're interested in what we're doing. So we exchange information. We have come across agencies that you know, offer support in terms of drugs and alcohol, because most of these homeless people have got drugs and alcohol issues. And there's, you know, treatment, there's drop-ins, drop-in clinics, and so on and so forth. So what we tend to do is we take their, you know, names and details and where they are, and if a homeless person says, yes, I do need help, I do need access to treatment, we then signpost them, or we will even take them with us to the clinic if you know where it is, if it's around the corner or whatever. You know, we'll take those people there.
Okay, you are listening to Radio IM. If you want to send us a message, remember you can send a text or WhatsApp to 07460809218, or you can give us a call over 924505629. Now, when you were about to launch, I know there's a lot of local support, a lot of local where people wanted to donate and help the cause. It was a wonderful initiative, but as time passes, the initial burst of encouragement and support, which people like to give, and well, we've got a very, very charitable community, to be honest with you, locally, and it's a credit to anywhere in the world. And I know from the people who I know on social media and everywhere else from around the world are very, very proud of what a small town like Batley, and from that small town of Batley, what the Muslim community manages to achieve. But to actually sustain it over an entire year, how have you managed to keep getting the supplies to get out there?
Okay. I'm not sure if I mentioned it last year, but Forgotten Friends is one of the projects of a large organization called Reviver Sunnah. So Reviver Sunnah is the main organization that funds all the projects underneath it. And Reviver Sunnah has a few revenue streams that come in. And through that, we fund all the other projects.
Yeah.
And also we have local donations and local businesses that fund us as well. But in the majority of the revenue comes from the donations that come through the main organization, which is Reviver Sunnah.
Right. Okay. What about support from local businesses and
the
people?
local businesses always support us. There's a few businesses that always support every organization. There's Chicanos, there's Mulacos, there's a Bedmill. They always support all organizations, not just us, but any organization that goes to them, they will support them, and they regularly support us. We just send a text message, and then within an hour or so, their donation, will be ready to pick up. That's how good these businesses are locally, alhamdulillah. So we have excellent.
Yeah, and you're still getting the Hope Kits together and still taking the Hope Kits out there.
Yeah, so with the Hope Kits as well, I know because it's been a year, we have developed better links with the wholesalers. So before we were getting items for 50 pence for a hat or 50 pence for gloves. Now the cost of those items has reduced. We're getting trade discounts, etc. And because we've within the year we've built up links, the items that we purchase for the Hope Kits are a lot cheaper. So in effect, we can buy more and we can create more Hope Kits as well. So we've sourced the items, with experience, and that has been sustained us as well.
Right. So the Hope Kits are all there. You guys are still going on the last Saturday of the month?
No, it depends.
It depends.
Okay.
It can fluctuate.
Yeah, because we're part of a group of online. There's a page where all local homeless organizations are part of, and then they coordinate with everyone. So there's loads of organizations in the Yorkshire region. So they're all on that group, and they coordinate with each other with the dates. So because we don't want all the organizations to come on the same day, on the same hour, because all the resources will waste us. For example, you have In Touch Foundation in Bradford, you have Leeds with the Homeless, and you have Open House, Open Minds in Bolton, you have the Homeless Network, you have the Myriad Foundation, you have a lot of grassroots organizations in the Yorkshire region. So when all of these organizations coordinate together, it makes sure that at least every single week, or even hopefully every single day, there will be a grassroots organization there helping out the needy.
That's brilliant, mashallah. And it surprises. I mean, before you guys came on, to be honest with you, I mean, we all obviously know that historically there's always been problems with homeless people, particularly in the cities, but people and so forth, and the drug-related issues, etc. But the extent of the amount of groups actually out there to help homeless people, I don't think that was quite what Sohail just mentioned there. There's a whole list of people who are helping. Is that how bad or how needy the situation and circumstances are?
What's happened historically, because I've been in this homeless sector for at least 7 years now. Initially, what happened was with the government, the funding was taken away. So all the local homeless charities like the Salvation Army Centre and all the other, they had to pull out. So the Bradford Salvation Army Centre closed down. There were 2 Salvation Army Centres in Leeds. Both of them closed down. And the one in Hull, that closed down. The one in Bradford, that closed down. So a lot of these homeless shelters, the national homeless shelters like the Salvation Army, they started closing down. So there was a massive void. So, and then Trussell Trust, the food bank, they had a funding crisis from the government. So that those food banks started closing down. So the void needed to be filled up with grassroots organizations, and that was the only way to fill that void. And then when there's a lot of there are problems in the community, the only people that can solve the problems in the community are the people that are in the community. So that's how these grassroots organizations develop. Young people saw that there's a problem in the community, and there's a void of national charities, national charities, like the Trussell Trust and the Salvation Army. They're no longer looking after the region. So, non-profit community grassroots organizations just started propping up, and then those they started doing a lot of work, and alhamdulillah, that's how this all the work in the locality and the community has been sustained.
Yeah, there's been a shift between the impact of central government cuts to local authorities, where quite a lot of other organizations, like Swan's just mentioned, Salvation Army and a few others, that were reliant heavily upon local authority funding, and that funding went and they collapsed. Basically, they couldn't deliver a service. They had wages to pay, they had staff on payroll system, they had rents to pay on buildings, they had a lot of on cost. So that's when all these local kind of voluntary charitable organizations started filling the void, and they came in, and there's been that shift.
Right. Okay. Now then, during the course of the year, I'm sure there have been a lot of good experiences and bad experiences, and we're going to touch hopefully on some of those just after the break. We are going to go into a break. You thought I was going to ask you to put you right on the spot, then, didn't you? But we're gonna touch on some of the incidents, or rather the good and bad experiences that Forgotten Friends have had over the past year as well. We'll be moving on to the other projects that the group are involved in and planning to be involved in too. So if you want to partake in the program, do give us a call, 01924 505 629, WhatsApp or text 07460809218. We're going to take a break. Be back with you right after this. Hire the Al Hikmah Center for your weddings, functions, and events, with segregated halls for men and women, including independent access, able to accommodate 1,500 guests, private car park with car park attendants, easy access, great location, and full free Wi-Fi. There's no place better for your special day. For bookings and inquiries, call 01924 500 555 or email info@imws.org.uk, or visit our website at www.imws.org.uk. The Al Hikmah Center, where your special day becomes a cherished memory. Play five-a-side football in the Al Hikmah Sports Hall for just £18 an hour between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. Monday to Friday. Call 01924 500 555. To book a slot at any other time, call 07968 222 886. It is related by Sayyidina Anas radiallahu anhu that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, when a man marries, he has completed half of his religion, so let him fear Allah regarding the remaining half. The Al Hikmah Nikah service launched by the IMWS aims to introduce prospective marriage partners to help fulfill this important aspect of faith. The service is open to unmarried Muslims who are permanent residents of the UK. For more information, visit our website at www.imws.org.uk. Radio IMWS. Welcome back to Radio IMWS, broadcasting live from the Al Hikmah Center in Batley, West Yorkshire. I think we've all got a little bit of a cold this evening, to be absolutely honest with you. I know my voice is starting to go as well. Okay, that's going to be interesting. But you can join us. Remember, tonight in the studio live with us, we do have Forgotten Friends, Hafiz Sohail Sufi, and of course Zahir Lunat, better known as Zach Lunat, who are with us. If you want to give us a call, the number is 01924 505 629, or you can WhatsApp or text 07460809218. And now then, chaps, the first third of the program, which we've been through, tends to usually be me just clearing my head from everything else that's happening. Now we get into the nitty gritty. We want right. Just before the break, we said about the good and bad experiences. So right, let's go good first. What are the good experiences that you guys have had?
We've had numerous good experiences. Like when we're helping people on the streets, that's obviously gives us a good feeling. But the best experience that we get is the feedback afterwards. And we've had a lot of feedback on our social media from just innocent bystanders, from the wider community, from people of all faiths who are sending us lovely messages saying that, oh, I saw you guys on the streets, you know, I typed your name, and I just wanted to say thank you that you guys are doing a wonderful work. You know, you guys are out in the cold, and those types of feedback and those types of messages, you know, those types of experiences gives us motivation and gives us, extra energy to continue doing it. So so those types of things are, I believe, are good experiences that we've had. And when we're helping people, they're very thankful, and you can't imagine the happiness that they share with you. But afterwards, when we get the feedback from it, that gives us extra motivation.
Right. Okay. I mean, tell us about some. I mean, you mentioned a couple of feedbacks there. I remember a story about someone actually approaching you early on, criticizing, and then giving you a donation.
Yes, we were in Manchester, and
see, I do have a good memory.
You've got a very good memory. Yeah, you're quite right there. We're in Manchester city centre, distributing the food packs and the hope kits, and there was a young lad with his girlfriend, intoxicated. And there was a carry-on. I was on the other side of the road, and I heard him shouting. So I went over, and he thought we were some part of a Islamic group that were targeting the homeless in the wrong way, saying, why you sleeping rough on the street or whatever. And when we explained to him in detail the project, what we were doing, he then goes to his girlfriend and says, "Can you get your purse out and give donation of 10 quid to these guys? They're doing a fantastic job." So from having a kind of bad experience, we turned it into a positive experience.
Right, subhanallah. Now then, right, okay, now the messages are coming in.
Okay.
My apologies, I think we lost Wi-Fi on the phone for a short while, but now the WhatsApps are coming in. Remember, keep sending your WhatsApp 07460809218. Someone did try to call us on WhatsApp. I'm afraid we don't take WhatsApp calls on the radio at the moment, but you can give us a call 01924 505 629. I believe it was an Indian number. So is that going to be your friend in India, whoever we remember?
It could be one of our founding members, Brother Firoz. It could be. I'm not sure. But maybe you have to call me back. Well, okay. He should be asleep by now.
No, I think he stayed up for this special. Yeah. But tell us more about. I mean, those are a couple of the good experiences. What about the actual experience with the people who are sleeping rough? Because we talked already about how sometimes they'll be cautious as to who you are, whether you're back from the council or authorities. But what's the most heartwarming or most weird experience that you've had meeting someone on the who's sleeping on the streets?
Like I said before, a lot of these people, they have a multitude of issues: mental health, drugs and alcohol, breakdown of relationships with their families, their closer siblings, etc., etc. So we do come across people that have had real life experiences, and mainly negative ones. So when we go across and we've got a yellow high-vis jacket on, they are suspicious first. But when we explain to them exactly where we're from, what our names are, what we're doing, so then is a hot drink, some food, just have a general chit chat with them. Most take it on board positively. We have had the odd few who have been intoxicated, and we've given them some food, and they don't like the taste of it, and they've chucked it all over the floor. Then we've had to clear it up. Yeah. But that's expected, bearing in mind, the situation that they themselves are in. And that's only a very small minority. I would say over 99% of our experience of our volunteers has been positive ones.
Right. Okay. Now, a lot of the vast majority positive, but what's the most difficult? This is going crazy now. What's the most difficult? By the way, we've got an Assalamu Alaikum on WhatsApp from India. I have no idea who that is, but at the moment this phone is going completely crazy. Looking at, amongst the bad experiences, I know you mentioned, obviously you mentioned there where you have to clean up and that as well. What would be the worst experience that you've had?
I wouldn't say it's the worst experience, but it's one of the most heartfelt experiences I've had. This was before I was with Forgotten Friends. This was during the time I was with another charity. I was working. I had a meeting in London, and I actually came out of Stratford Station, and I was walking out, and I was walking past Westfield and walking towards another side street, and I saw a homeless person sleeping underneath the bridge, and like him, he saw me, and obviously I've got a beard, and I was wearing my jubba. So he said assalamu alaikum to me. So I said walaikum salam, brother. Then I started talking to him. I said, how are you, brother? Like, oh, are you okay? Do you need anything? You're sleeping. You're sleeping here. You're cold, etc. Then it was about 10 p.m. at night, and I was by myself. I didn't have anything to do. I just had to go back to the apartment and just go to sleep. So I was start talking to him, and he told me his story. He was actually a refugee from Africa, and he started talking to me, and he told me how he became homeless. And then the thing that struck me the most was he told me that he was a hafiz, and because I'm a hafiz, it struck me a lot that to me, I thought a hafiz is on the street, and I'm a hafiz. I was like, it struck me. Then I started, and then I said, then I asked him, can you? Then he asked me, could you pray something? I told him as well that I'm hafiz as well. So I think, I'm not sure who asked first. I think he asked me first, could I pray something? Then I started praying. Then he started praying, and his voice was so beautiful because he was from one of the Arab African countries, and he was reciting so beautifully, and I was just like, brother, you could walk into any madrasa in East London, and they would give you a job, etc. And it's like, I've been here on the streets, the community is not helping me, nobody's helping me, and it struck me a lot that, a person who has the Quran in his heart, and the community or the people or humanity are not helping him, and he has ended up on the streets. A person is sleeping off on the streets who has the Holy. That struck me like a lot. That how could we neglect a person who has the Holy Quran in his heart and he's on the streets? So that struck me a lot that time. And since then, I've been involved with a lot of homeless charities, and that has been one of my incidents in life. That for if Allah can, put a person in the Quran in the streets, and we're walking past a person like that, we shouldn't judge anybody, and we should have him in. So that was one of the experiences of having that.
SubhanAllah. What about you, Zach?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of any negative ones, because we're a charity helping them out, donating food and drinks, having a chat with them, finding out about their lifestyles, and just generally being informal with them, not in an authority position. We tend to, don't have any kind of major problems. We also kind of engage with the wider community, especially in light of the PR that Muslims are getting throughout the country. So what I tend to do with the volunteers, what I say to them, not only we're going for the homeless, when we're in towns and cities, if people are looking at you, approach them, explain to them where you're from. So that gives them positive feedback as well.
I mean that's one of the things. I mean, obviously the volunteers are representative of Muslims, and wherever you guys go, that's going to be there, and people are going to be asking questions. I just wish you guys were more on the front pages of the Daily Mail for the right reasons. But unfortunately,
on that note, we do have a lot of non-Muslim volunteers who have started approaching us, who started filling in the volunteers form, etc. So that's what we're wanting to diversify. We're wanting to open up to anybody and everybody that wants to help the homeless.
And one of the things, I mean, what does it take to actually volunteer for something like this? Because I'm just thinking about it, and if you're a novice going down a street where there's homeless people, I know a lot of people walk by, but a lot of people walk by because they just simply don't know, or they're simply scared. They don't know what's going to happen to them. And there's a fear factor that's there as well. How do you manage to make sure that everything stays safe and your volunteers stay safe?
Because we're still in our development stage, but our plans for the future are that we have a brother who's just come back from an intense volunteering in Ghana. His brother Jamil, and he's come back. And he's been given a new role. His role is his role going forward will be to train up the volunteers and to coordinate with the volunteers, and we want to give our volunteers the right training, the right interpersonal training, that when they approach people on the streets, they know how to approach people. Because you're right, somebody who hasn't had experience approaching people, they can just just take, like, for example, take a sandwich and say, you want a sandwich? They come across very, very come across are not very good, insensitive, and so we need to do a lot of training, sensitivity training, interpersonal training, and Brother Jamil has been given that task. So that's what we're planning in the future. And the other thing is, we've realized that we need to initially, when with our volunteers, we had a lot of volunteers that we just knew locally.
Yeah.
For example, I knew, okay, I've known him all my life, so I know him. But then when we went online on social media, we had to develop an online application form, and we had to, ask them for references. We had to ask them because legally we are approaching vulnerable people on the street, and we have to do our right checks and right checks and references. So to volunteer is actually very easy. You go to our Facebook page, and it just says sign up. Just next to the like button, it says sign up. You click on it. It will literally take 2 minutes to sign up, and then you'll get a response back. And most people, they'll get a response within 24 hours.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, to volunteers can easily volunteer, and it's not a long process. But we do need to make our checks.
Yeah. There's the flip side of it, of course, which is like the experience that you had. Now, sometimes those type of experience can be very, very, very strong on an individual. What do you guys do to make sure that your volunteers don't end up becoming too emotionally? I mean, it sounds crazy, but getting so emotional over it that they end up basically falling to the ground.
Again, the lead coordinator has been given instructions that make sure that if we do have any Muslim volunteers, that they don't they don't go out, they're not preaching on the streets, or they're not doing direct dawah, or they basically, we need to train our volunteers, and that's the stage of development that we are in. We've initiated the organization. We're out on the streets, we've experienced that. Now we need to invest in our people and our volunteers, and we need to give them the right training. And you're right, when we're out on the streets, we are like, so many people are watching us, and any single thing that we do will be scrutinized. Everything that we'll say will be scrutinized. So we have to give the right training to them now, and that process is happening at the moment. And we are working with organizations in Birmingham and other organizations in Bolton and other charities to get the right people in, so that they can train our volunteers correctly.
Yeah, we've actually got volunteers from a mixture of backgrounds. Some are students, some are working full-time, some have just come out of university, they've not got many work experience or life experiences. And like Brother Suhail has said, we normally have a coordinator. I'm one of the coordinators, so I kind of intercept if I know something's going wrong or whatever. And they basically shadow me a lot of the times. It's all about communicating, that is talking on their wavelength, having a laugh and joke with them. That's all part and parcel of doing a good job in the evening. Otherwise, it's going back to what Suhail is. If you're too formal, they won't entertain you. Basically, they'll think you're from the authorities, and you just have to be mindful of that.
Good personal skills, that's what's needed.
Absolutely.
Now, staying with volunteers, how many volunteers have you had over the year, roughly? I know this is thrown. I'm throwing you straight in the deep end.
I haven't had a look at my Excel sheet for a while, but the amount of people that have actually filled in the form, that would probably be around more than 50. So people that have filled in that volunteers form. We have had people that have come in for one or two projects. We've had regular people that come in every single month, like Brother Zahir. But in total, I think we've had approximately 50 or so people that have filled in the volunteers form. The regular pool of volunteers that we have, which we go to, ranges between 10 to 15. Those are a regular pool of volunteers that we contact on a monthly basis. We're hoping to expand that pool of volunteers. Because when we have a pool of 15, there's always a 10% or 20% that can't make it for that weekend. So we need to expand that pool of volunteers that we can go to on a monthly basis. So we need to expand our volunteers that we sign up, etc. And we need to get a more diversified, because we realized that there's a lot of people from the wider community in Dewsbury, Batley, that are not from Mount Pleasant, that are not from our local masjids, that are not even Muslims, that want to participate and that want to help out. And that's actually a good thing. I believe that's feedback that we got about our organization, that non-Muslims want to volunteer with us. So alhamdulillah, that's a good feedback that we're doing something good, that we're approachable, that even non-Muslims want to volunteer with us.
That's excellent. And just finally on volunteers, of course there's those volunteers who are going out and distributing the Hope Kits and that side of things. You've also got volunteers presumably on making the Hope Kits. people at home, as they say. Your
Yeah,
home volunteers.
Yes, we have our mothers and sisters who usually help out with making tea, making the sandwiches, making the hope kits, etc. Like people like people say, every little helps. Every little helps. Whatever anybody does, we're very grateful. And there was one organization that donated what they call wet wipes.
Right. Okay.
Alhamdulillah, they donated 100 wet wipes.
Yeah.
We put them into the hope kits, and the homeless people, they loved it. They open them up. And it's fantastic. The little things like that, we take it for granted. But when you're sleeping rough on the street, you've got a wet wipe. You open it up and you clean your hands. That's perfect. So every little thing, it helps. And our mothers and sisters have been amazing. Even in Ramadan, I remember in Ramadan when they were making the food and helping with the packs, because in Ramadan I think we went out about 3 or 4 times in that month. We actually a few times, and Ramadan, it was long summers. Our volunteers, I remember brother Mohamed from India, who's in India now, he was here in Ramadan. He went out twice with his son and daughter, and obviously we're all fasting, driving there, coming back, volunteering, coming back. So everyone's been very helpful.
Yeah, subhanallah. Okay, we are going to take a bit of a break, but and we've looked at how you guys began. We've looked at how things are happening at the moment, including the volunteers that you've got, and that's the key, I think. To be honest with you, to have such a good group of volunteers who are and the pool that you've got there. But we will be moving next into what Forgotten Friends will be doing in the coming year. Now, remember, having given the message for a while, but apologies, the phone is playing up a little bit today, but do keep trying. 07460809218 for your WhatsApps and texts, or give us a call 01924505629 if you want to talk on the old invention called the telephone. We'll be back with you in just 2 minutes. Join the discussion on Radio IMWS every Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday from 8 p.m. Topics include Islam, current affairs, health, legal, education, and a weekly program delivered in Gujarati. You can join in by calling the studio on 01924 505 629 or send us a text or WhatsApp on 07460809218. For program schedules, visit www.imws.org.uk. If you would like to volunteer and be part of the Radio IMWS team, email radio@imws.org.uk or call 01924 500 555. Are you running a business from home and need to move into an office, a place where you can confidently meet your clients, or maybe looking to relocate? The Al Hikmah Center provides office space in a safe, secure and scenic location. With easy access, convenient location, free car parking and free Wi-Fi, hiring an office at the Al Hikmah Center can allow your business to grow. For more details and special offers, call 01924 500 555 or email info@imws.org.uk. Hold your meetings and conferences at a secluded scenic location just 15 minutes from the M1 and M62. Whether small, medium or large, the Al Hikmah Center in Batley, West Yorkshire has the facilities to accommodate, including free parking and all the equipment to make your seminar successful. So whether your need is for a handful or over 1,000 attendees, we have all you need. For details and charges, call 01924 500 555 or email info@imws.org.uk. You can find out more about our conference facilities by visiting www.imws.org.uk. Radio IMWS. Welcome back to Radio IMWS on the Tuesday, the 29th of December. Now then, for you, those of you who have a memory almost as good as me, you remember that just over a year ago, on the 24th of December last year, we had Forgotten Friends in the studio, and on the 27th of December last year, on Saturday, the 27th of December, they went and distributed their first Hope Kits out there. And they've been going strong ever since. We've spoken about where you guys began. We've gone over the volunteers and the team that you guys have got. Now then, what's the future?
Okay, so at present, some of you may have seen one of the projects I've been doing. It was the Hope for Winter project.
Mm.
That was across numerous cities. We had two charities in East London, charity in Leicester, Huddersfield, Manchester, Birmingham, Preston. We had numerous grassroots charities that joined that Hope for Winter project. Our aim was to develop a flagship project where a lot of grassroots organization could be part of. The aim of that Hope for Winter project was to, in essence, create hope kits and to distribute that to the homeless and needy people. Now, what happened during these past 2-3 weeks was that we had to make an emergency decision, and we decided that those resources and those hope kits that we made, we decided that we divert those resources to the flood victims, because they in effect they became homeless. Okay. And we saw, okay, where there was the most need, we diverted all the manpower, all the resources that we had across all regions, all the hope kits that were in Preston, we diverted them to Al Imdad. All the hope kits that the East London guys made, they drove up all the way and they donated it to all other people. All the hope kits that we developed for the Hope for Winter project, our aim was to distribute it to homeless people, but the flood happened, and then so many people were hit and so many people became homeless. So all the resources that we had for the Hope for Winter, we diverted them and we took them to where it was needed. So that was the project that we had. And inshallah, the Hope for Winter project will be a yearly thing. Inshallah, every year, and any grassroots organization from across the country, because this was the first year that we did the Hope for Winter project, and we had we had London, we had Birmingham, we had Preston, we had Manchester, we had numerous cities on board. And inshallah, our aim is to grow that, so that it becomes an even more nationwide thing where all the entire community gets involved making hope kits, and then those hope kits gets distributed to the homeless people. And but just this year, it happened that we needed to divert those resources to flood victims. Going forward, for the Forgotten Friends organization, we have another project where we are hoping to fundraise just in time for Ramadan, and in Ramadan we're hoping to launch our mobile soup kitchen. We haven't given it a name yet. We'll leave it to our branding guys, Tan Designs, to brand it. But our aim is to have not a fixed location, but a mobile van, catering, soup kitchen, etc., that we can use to go around to the local area, and from there we can serve soup, we can serve hot food, and we can distribute our hope kits as well. And with a van you can transport volunteers, you can transport so many things, and the logistics side of things will become a lot easier. And for that we're hoping to raise at least £5,000 to £6,000, and that inshallah that's an achievable aim, and that will sustain us for a long time, and that will expand our reach as well of the amount of people that we can help. That's what we have planned for the next 6 to 9 months. Going forward, we have some long-term plans as well, but we haven't finalized that yet.
Right. Okay. Now, you did talk about the mobile food van last year, and we had a good chuckle back then. Looking at, you guys were about to set off. You're about to do the first one. It doesn't look quite as. It was far stretched last year, to be fair, but it doesn't look quite so far stretched anymore, Zach. You and I were laughing at him.
Yeah, we were. Basically, you've got to start somewhere and then build up. And as we've been going to towns and cities, we've recognized in terms of logistics that when we're taking cars and we've got hot food and stuff like that, we need something which is fit for purpose. And Sohail is right. A mobile food one with all the gadgets, all the equipment in there, like a one-stop shop. We'll do the business. We'll be mobile. We'll have everything in one place. All we've got to do is just take it to the location and have the human resources to serve, and that's it basically. So I think it's a fantastic idea. At first I was a bit skeptical, like you were, but going out on these outings, what we found out that carrying the food, parking up, then going to different locations where the homeless are, it takes a long time. We've had those what do you call
granny trolleys.
Oh, you mean the tartan ones with the wheels?
Not the tartan ones, but we decided to go for a plain coloured one. But that's what our volunteers.
The
5p bags, right, means those granny trolleys are coming back in fashion. So what have you been using those for, to actually transport?
To transport them, and because we make a lot of consultation with local scholars, And one of the things that they said was, look after your people.
Yes.
And that's what they said to me, that look after your people and look after their welfare. And if they're breaking their backs transporting, which they don't mind. I know our volunteers won't mind transporting, but if they come back, the backs, it's my responsibility to make sure that the volunteers are not that tired that, they've got bruises, etc. and strains. So we want to make it easier for them when they're transporting stuff around the city and when they're volunteering. And inshallah, that has been my fundamental aim, because we have 6 or 7 people in the reversing organization that makes all decision, and they decided that that I would lead the organization, but that was when I was here. But I've passed it on to another brother called Ajmal now, who's looking after it. But in the transition period, the fundamental aim that we have was to make things easier for the volunteers. That has been our primary priority at the next couple of months. So that's what they decided, that when we just want to look after our volunteers, when they're transporting stuff, when they're doing the stuff that they want to do, like helping the homeless, we want to make it so easier for them that inshallah, anybody can do it later on, as long as they fit the volunteering criteria. It'll be easy for them to do. And we want to open it up so that people don't feel like, oh, it's so hard, what do you have to do? We want to give them the right training, we want to give them the right resources, and inshallah, they just have to go to the streets and help the people, inshallah.
Subhanallah. And we do wish you all the best on that as well. But you just mentioned about the recent floods. Now, you guys are one of the local groups, local charities who have been involved in a lot of the cleanup in the floods. Tell us a little bit about that. How's that?
Initially, Brother Zahir and a few people, they went to Cumbria. Now, I think what happened was, I'm not sure who messaged me. I think it was Brother Zahir that messaged me that we need to go out. And I think in the process of about 1 day or so, one day, alhamdulillah, we mobilized. I think it was a Thursday that someone messaged me saying, "Oh, we need to go out. We need to help this." And alhamdulillah, we mobilized so quickly that by Sunday, was it? I think within a day or so we were out.
Sunday we went out. Saturday we got the goods.
Yeah, Saturday we got the
Friday
goods.
we were having a discussion.
Friday we were having a discussion to go.
Saturday we got the goods.
And
Sunday we went out.
by Sunday the team had mobilized and we went out. Alhamdulillah. And we realized that that's within the remit of what the type of work that we want to do. Because like I said, there were 7,000 people that were made homeless in Cumbria. And if our organization, I'm more than happy to help them. And alhamdulillah, the cleanup operation, well, Zahid can tell you more about it because he was there on the ground.
Over to you, Zach.
No problems. A team of 10 people, 2 cars predominantly from the Warwick Road area, went, including the Imam from Jummah Masjid, Maulana Ilyas Scholar. He went as well with us. And what we did was we hit the villages in Keswick, specifically Braithwaite area. And what we did was, it was a 2-4 exercise. We took a lot of food, drinks. So we went to the welcome center, we registered there, we gave them all the goods. They were overwhelmed with the support from the Muslim community. We got really good positive responses because you're going into a predominantly white community, an area where people watch the Sky News, watch the BBC News, read the national tabloids, and don't know much about the Muslim community. And it totally changed their kind of thinking and their perception in terms of the Muslim community, because they were saying, "Oh, it's all wrong what we've read in the papers," and they were that overwhelmed and really kind of intrigued with the way we conducted ourselves, the way we helped them out. And what they said was they'll be writing to the local press about local organisations from Batley, Blackburn, and Leicester that have helped them out. And I've received letters, emails from people from Keswick area to say thank you very much. You guys were really good. You helped us out, clean the muck up. You delivered food parcels. You networked with us. You came into the church. You had a bite to eat, a cup of tea, and we exchanged dialogue. So there was just more to the kind of rescue operation in terms of building those relationships. And they have invited us over in the summer to come along as well, which is good.
That's absolutely brilliant. And yes, I've been following a lot of you on social media and WhatsApps. A lot of the pictures going out, especially of you, Zach. Yeah, you're very photogenic, I have to say. He is, isn't he?
He's always smiling.
He seems to be your poster boy.
Don't tell that to Hafiz Musa.
I did see that he was trying to sneak in yesterday. I did see that. But no, it's brilliant because as you mentioned, and I've been following it on social media, and I've been reading a lot of things, and as many people have, we've all seen a lot of the circulated tweets and Facebook posts. It's absolutely fantastic. And well done to you guys and all the people who've been out there, and big up to you all. You've done fantastic, and hope inshallah ta'ala that continues as well. Now we're running out of time, but there's one thing that came to me during a little bit earlier when you were talking and about the hand wipes and how people the roughs, the people sleeping rough, the homeless people actually like to wipe their hands. Now quite often it's and it's stereotyping, I realize that as well, but a lot of people will kind of like look at homeless people and think, oh well, they're dirty, they'll sleep in their own urine, they'll do this, they'll do that, and they're not bothered about hygiene. I mean, what's the real truth? I mean, of course they're in a predicament, but do those sort of like little things, just wiping their hands clean, do those things really matter?
I think it's human instinct. Regardless of which country, which culture, which religion you are, hygiene is human instinct. And if you are sleeping rough on the streets, you will get dirty. Imagine sleeping for 6 hours when it's raining rough on the streets. Your hands will get dirty. You'll have bystanders walking past and making assumptions and making judgments. Oh, he's dirty, he's kept himself rough. Now, we can only imagine how we would be if we were on the streets for a day or so. Now, little things like wiping your hands, when it comes to, little things like that, yes, homeless people and people who are displaced on the streets, these things do matter to them because it's a basic human instinct. Nobody wants to stay dirty. These assumptions and these judgments that people have of homeless people are totally incorrect. These, maybe at one particular moment in time they must have seen them and maybe they must have been dirty, but nobody knows their condition. Nobody knows what has happened to them an hour before. Maybe somebody's thrown some coffee at them. That's why they're dirty. But I believe, and I strongly believe, that no human being wants to stay in a dirty condition, and especially if the
just on the subject of personal hygiene, when I was out in Manchester, I actually spoke to a homeless person, and he mentioned an Asian person's name, and he says, "Oh, he's really, really good. Do you know him?" And I says, "I don't know him. Where's he from?" He says, "Oh, he's from the Manchester area." I says, "What does he do?" He says, "Oh, he takes us to a building next to a mosque, and he's got a wet room area, and we get a wash there." I says, "How do you manage that?" He says, "He picks us up. It's really, really good." And then he says, he kind of pointed at me, he says, "Come here." He says, "I was very close to becoming a Muslim, subhanAllah." He says, he actually taught me about your religion. And, we see loads of Muslim charities coming to help the homeless. And he was giving us a heads up saying, you're doing a fantastic job. And, charitable giving and all that kind of stuff. But there is a brother in the Manchester area, alhamdulillah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept his efforts, who picks the homeless people up and takes them for a wash. I only found that out from a homeless person.
I just remembered something. Let's just remember an incident. Like a couple of years ago when I was in Jamaat, one of the elders was doing a bayan saying that one person was kicked out of his house, and he didn't have anywhere to go for a shower. Now just imagine, you've been alhamdulillah, inshallah it doesn't happen. Well, let's say, for whatever reason you've been kicked out of your house. Now, where would you go for a shower? You're sleeping in your car now. Okay, you're surviving in your car, but now you need to go for a shower. You need to go to the bathroom. Where would you go? Okay, you can go to the bathroom in the masjid, but could you have a shower there? You'd feel uncomfortable. And I know people that have been sleeping in their cars, not sleeping rough, but sleeping in their cars, and they've been going to the sports center to have a shower, or going to a local visit. Now they have money. They've been kicked out of the house, they're sleeping in the car, but they have money, so they're going to a local sports center, etc., to have a shower. So now these homeless people, they don't want to stay dirty. They don't have any money. They don't have anywhere to go for have a shower. So these judgments and these misconceptions that people have about the homeless people, that they like to just stay dirty, that's a very incorrect misconception, because they just don't have access to these resources to go for a shower. And when somebody says, "You know what, come, there's facilities here, you can have a shower," they love it. And like Brother he mentioned that if they were given those resources and they were given those access, and but inshallah, you know what, that's something that we want to go, you know, moving forward. Maybe we could develop something where we can pick up some volunteers and take them somewhere, and you know, because you know, like little high things of hygiene, we've seen that the homeless and displaced people, that's the thing that they need most.
I could see something running in your mind there. The idea of a mobile outside outdoor shower.
No,
or something.
there was actually a video from America. I think we actually posted it on our Facebook about a mobile. I think if you go on our Facebook, you'll see there was something about a mobile showering van or something like that. I'll put it up on our YouTube. I'll put it up on our Facebook tonight.
Yes, and copy us into it as well, so that what we can do is then retweet it and get it out there to the masses as well, inshallah. But it's I remember you mentioning last year the fact that people who are homeless, who are living on the streets, are human beings, and people are walking past them, not recognizing that. And I think that's the wonderful thing that you guys have managed to do through all the work that you've done. I know I asked a very bad question there, because unfortunately the idea of a homeless person often draws this idea into people's minds of a scruffy looking person wearing a long coat, and again, it's very much media driven. Unfortunately, society has forgotten forgotten these people.
Our main hashtag on our social media has been like homeless lives matter. And that hashtag just says it all. We need to change our understanding. We need to treat them as human beings, because their lives do matter. You know, in essence, you know, they are human beings.
Yes, yes, of course. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept all of your efforts. Alhamdulillah, all your volunteers' efforts give you strength to continue, and inshallah ta'ala grow bigger and bigger. And you know what, coming next year, I can see, right, next December we're going to be back in here again if I'm still around, and I can see the food van will be already outside. You bring that along here, and there'll be the idea of, right, we've got this this shower. It's absolutely brilliant. I think what you guys are doing is absolutely fantastic. Genuinely, the very best in every which way, inshallah, to you guys. How can people get involved, and where can people find out more about you?
If people go straight to our Facebook page, all the information is on our Facebook page. Next to the like button is a sign up button. They click on that sign up button, and there'll be an online volunteers form. They fill that in, and also all the information about how to donate is also on our Facebook page. So, or they can go to our Facebook page, or they can go to www.forgottenfriends.org.uk, and that will take them directly onto our Facebook page, because we haven't designed we haven't done our website yet. So there's a redirect at the moment going straight into our Facebook page.
Right, subhanallah. And of course, you can also find them on Twitter. What's your
Twitter is ff_project. People can find us on Instagram and some other stuff. I think Snapchat as well. All the young volunteers are developing all these social media accounts. So we have Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, Facebook, and I think that's it. I think that's it.
Those who are my age, I mean, all the young people.
So I think if you just search for hashtag Forgotten Friends and any of the social media, inshallah, they should be able to find us.
Right. Okay. From both of you, final profound thoughts. We'll start with Zach.
What, in terms of the project?
In terms of the project, or anything in life that you want to talk about, to be honest with you?
Well, I just want to continue the good work, build up on it, enhance it, look at more volunteers, and, make it a success, basically.
Subhanallah. And happens to hear from you.
I think with all the projects that we do, and all the projects that all the organizations Bartlett Dewsbury do, I think going forward in our society and in our community, I think we need to start benefiting the wider community, and we need to start doing more mu'asharat. Mu'asharat is helping the community, social cohesiveness. And there was a book by Maulana Ashraf Ali Thanwi, Adabul Mu'asharat, and that book is so good that will, if our community started implementing some of the solutions in that book, all the problems that the entire community, not just Muslim and non-Muslim, but if everyone started implementing some of those things, a lot of the problems will be solved, including homelessness, including so many problems. All of these problems will be fixed if we started, having more muasharat. Muasharat is just interacting correctly with other people.
Yeah, subhanallah. And you know what? That suits, that fits me very nicely, because I always say rather than integration is interaction we need more of, and you've hit the nail on the head, mashallah. Okay, forgotten friends, Jazakallah Hafiz Sahel Sufi and Zahir Luna, Jazakallah for joining us in the studio this evening. We won't wait a year, we will get you back in again, inshallah ta'ala, sooner than that. But inshallah ta'ala,
26th of March, inshallah.
26th of March, there you go.
You got the day as well.
There you go, you've already got the day. Why do you always find the end of the month? That's the busiest time for me. Try and find an earlier
I land on the 24th of March.
All right.
And 25th is a Friday. Friday I'll be on inshallah, I'll book myself on another radio station. And inshallah 26th I'll come.
we look forward to that indeed, inshallah ta'ala. Gentlemen, jazakallah for coming into the studio. It's been an absolute pleasure. Now then, as mentioned at the start of the program, remember the IMWS, looking at the floods that have been taking place, so you'll all be aware of what's been happening. We have here at the IMWS launched an appeal. You can donate a zakat and sadaqah to help the victims of the North of England floods, inshallah ta'ala. And that appeal is going to be open until this Friday. Remember, the Al Hikmah Center, you can drop your donations off here during normal working hours. We are open right up until 5 p.m. on this coming Thursday. But the masjids will be continuing to collect on Friday as well. So by the end of Friday, inshallah ta'ala, do make all your donations and help the cause, inshallah ta'ala. That's it from me for tonight, inshallah ta'ala. On Saturday, we will have Sister Safia back in the studio. We took a break last week. We shut over the weekend, but she will be back, inshallah ta'ala, this coming Saturday. And more shows to come in the new year, so stay tuned, because that's where we're heading. And from me and everybody in studio, until the next time, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Hiya, the Al Hikmah.